especially to come
in the morning
do
when it's
this.
rush hour, yeah.
All right. So, just before we turn on the equipment and get it all started, we're going to do what we've done before. I'm going to have you start in the Humvee environment.
Okay.
Put the headset on. All of the bells and whistles that come with virtual reality are simply designed to help the combat veteran revisit the traumatic experience as best as possible. Let's get the weapon outside. So
it feels pretty much like a real weapon. It's got almost the same weight to it.
The equipment in and of itself really resonates with some of the younger veterans, and I think it allows us to get more people in that might engage in the treatment. So, where do you think placing you in the Humvee would be most effective? Not in the driver's seat. Okay, so now that's the front passenger seat. I want to know what the time of day was, who they were with, what environment they were in. So I can accordingly set up the variables. On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest level of anxiety or distress, tell me how that distress level is right now.
I'd say 1 or 2.
1 or 2. My goal is to keep them at a consistent level of anxiety and distress so that they can then adapt to it.
You start entering some of these highly populated towns like this here, your senses kind of get heightened, and you know, anything that looks like a wire, a hole, but that right there, you know, that street light with that rock, you know, that's anything.
Because it's a sensory experience, you have all these doors which you might be able to open, which might help trigger that reaction. The visual might not, but the sound might. The sound might not, but the scent might. All of them together might. When I look at those visuals, my first thought is, that's pretty good, but I'm certainly not buying that that's Iraq or that's a real Humvee. And so it really surprised me when a number of the veterans were, you know, looked at those visuals and you could see, like, you know, gulp. And it's not, and none of them are saying, this is exactly what my Humvee looked like, or this is exactly what that road looked like. None of them would say that. But what's happening is that it's triggering a memory. It's triggering a visceral experience.
That person on the bridge was firing or firing back at them. There was one moment, it wasn't so much that the person was on the bridge, where I recall where they were off to the right of the bridge. And they were waving at us with an American flag. An ambush fire came around, and we basically continued through it.
Anxiety rating?
It's a 5.
I'm looking for all kinds of cues to when someone is distressed. Tightening of the jaw, how they're gripping that weapon. Under certain circumstances, their whole posture will change. They're leaning forward and they've got that gun, and you could see something's happening to them emotionally at that point.
That kind of pushed my stress level recently, just with that last one, to 6.
Ricochet sound?
Yeah. That'll kind of bring me back to my experiences on the road.
Any specific experiences on the road? Describe it to me as best you can.
We were jammed on a traffic road, just got ordered to stop, and there was just hundreds. It looked like almost thousands of vehicles lined up, and there was a blockage with this fruit truck, and basically, you know, the thing that you understood enough after being there for a while was you didn't ever, on a convoy, you didn't ever want to stop, you know. If you were stopped for some reason, that was not a good sign. And we were stopped for like 10 minutes. sitting there and nothing happening. Okay. I don't know anything more frightful. Because it's that anticipation, you know. At least if you had something, you know, showing itself, then you had a target, you know. It was that anticipation for those 10 minutes was lasted. They lasted like, you know, a year.
These are their worst fears. They're in some ways the worst experiences humans can go through.
And it wasn't until we cleared that road and started to actually move that we started to hear that ambush fire coming from both sides, actually.
When you see them face up to it, challenge themselves, work their way through it, it's a thrilling experience. I want you to describe for me now what your fear was sitting in that convoy not moving. It's just been a tremendously rewarding experience for me to see not only the ways in which I can check off that their symptoms have been reduced, but that it generalizes into other areas of their life and they feel much more capable, much stronger, and that they could face whatever it is the world will throw at them. Right now, anxiety rating.
That's good. 1.
Great. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Good work today, Jared.
Thank you.